Hey guys, Keaton here with TechSmart, and today we're going to be talking even more about the Apple iPhone 6. So we've talked about this in previous videos, we've talked about what we're likely to see, everything we know, and we discussed one of the dummy units that we received, which is the 4.7-inch model. It's definitely bigger, but now that we've received the 5.5-inch model and we have it in-house, let's go ahead and talk about this a little bit more because Apple will be most likely releasing two models, which is pretty crazy when we take a look at this bigger one because it is 5.5 inches. So without further delay, let's go and hop on into what we will be seeing later this fall. So these iPhone 6 models are fabricated by case companies to get a better understanding of what they'll be working with when they are producing their cases ahead of time. So the 5.5-inch model, when in comparison to the 4.7-inch and iPhone 5S, it's absolutely huge. It does bring some of these same design traits that the iPod Touch 5th generation touts, having a thin design and just everything's a little bit more rounded and pulled out. And I'm a big fan for this. I like it a lot. I love when technology gets thinner and gets bigger and just gets smarter, so I'm a big fan for that. And also we're seeing these same characteristics on the 4.7-inch model, where the sleep-wake switch is to the right of the device, so that's going to be easier to press instead of having it at the top of the device, which can be hard for some consumers, and for those consumers that just are happy with the iPhone 5S's screen size and just design, that could be a real big challenge in the future. So the 5.5-inch model is definitely bigger, and that's because we have a bigger screen, and the entire phone just looks to be stretched out and a stretched out version of the 4.7-inch. So the top bar and bottom bar where Touch ID is housed is just absolutely ridiculously huge. In comparison to the Note 3, it is bigger than the Note 3, and the Note 3 features a 5.7-inch display. So that just tells you other manufacturers are going out of their way to make the screen the main purpose of the device, but Apple has never been one for that, and we can see that the top and bottom bars are pretty big, and that's adding a definite amount of height to the phone when comparing it to the Note 3. So we place the LG G3 when in comparison to the iPhone 6 5.5-inch model, and the iPhone 6 5.5-inch model is bigger than the LG G3. Not by much, but it's still pretty crazy that a phone takes up that much room with the top and bottom bars, but that's just Apple, so I guess we're going to have to accept that. But when holding this phone in hand, it is just seriously big. I'm going to keep repeating myself because when you get to hold one of these, or just the models for example, it is crazy. It almost feels like you need a stylus to just even navigate through it. It is true phablet status, and I think the 4.7-inch model is probably the sweet spot for most consumers, giving them 0.7 extra inches, putting the sleep-wake switch on the side. So it doesn't feel too cumbersome in the hand, and this is definitely because of the design, but it is a bit awkward pressing the sleep-wake switch if you hold your phone like me. So this is my iPhone 5S right now, and I typically wrap my hand around the very edge of the device. So if I go ahead and do that and I press the sleep-wake switch, I really have to stretch and just adjust my hand position, which can be a bit annoying for some consumers, and I'd definitely be annoyed. But with the 4.7-inch model, you can definitely do that with no problem, and it just feels a little bit better in the hand, and you can actually manage the screen size. And if you have bigger hands, you can probably navigate the 5.5-inch model like a champ, and probably even the 4.7-inch model. But for most consumers out there, I think the 4.7-inch model will definitely be the biggest hit. So the iPhone 6 5.5-inch model is bigger than the Galaxy Note 3, taller than the Note 3, but not wider than the Note 3. And as I've stated before, the LG G3 fits inside of the purported alleged device that we will be seeing of the 5.5-inch size. So it's just absolutely crazy that this is even being fathomed. But if Apple is going to release it, and these dummy units really do serve as a mock-up for cases and just help consumers get an idea of what we will be seeing, I'm just still perplexed that this would even come to fruition because it is 5.5 inches and the current iPhone 5S is 4 inches, an additional 1.5 inches. It's just mind-blowing, but hey, I'm not hating on innovation here. And taking a look at the 5.5-inch model, the camera is slightly jutting out. I think this is just a flaw with the model that we have. These devices are obviously not treated as well as a real device, so it's just a point of reference here, as I don't see Apple putting bigger specifications or a better camera in the 5.5 inch model because I just don't think that would make too much sense and it might make a lot of consumers angry. So just wrapping up here, the 5.5 inch model and the 4.7 inch model of the alleged iPhone 6 is just absolutely crazy. The 4.7 inch model feels perfect in the hands. I could definitely rock it on a daily basis, but the 5.5 inch one just feels a little bit weird at first, and I feel like I need a stylus to accompany it like we do see with the Galaxy Note 3. But it's just kind of interesting to see what Apple is doing with their design, making it thinner, which I am a big fan of. But I just don't really understand the top two bars, where the speaker and Touch ID is held, because that just makes this device with a smaller display, bigger than the Note 3, the LG G3, and it's just really interesting to go ahead and talk about. But in the end, I think most consumers are going to jump on the 4.7 inch model because if the 5.5 inch one does cost an extra $100 for the same specifications but just a bigger screen size, I'd see it being a big turnoff because people just want the best fit. So as we've seen with Apple's current sales, many consumers are happy with the 4-inch display, and I think bumping it up to 4.7 inches would be ideal. And maybe if the 5.5 inch and 4.7 inch configurations were offered at the same price, just you could pick whatever one you wanted if you wanted a bigger display, I think that would be the best option. But I just think pricing it higher, if that's what Apple did do, would end up turning it out like the iPhone 5C, which could be considered a flop to some regard. Thank you guys so much for watching this video where we talked about Apple's iPhone 6 in the 4.7 inch and 5.5 inch configurations. If you guys enjoyed this video and are excited for the iPhone 6, drop me a thumbs up down below as it lets me know you guys want more exclusives like this, and believe me, I'd be more than happy to keep bringing them towards you guys. Also drop me a comment down below letting me know what you guys think of the iPhone 6. Are you a fan of the 4.7 inch model, the 5.5 inch model? Do you even like Apple? I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Finally, go and subscribe to the channel to be notified when a brand new video is released, because trust me guys, we have a lot more coming in 2014 along with Apple, Samsung, and many other manufacturers out there. Thank you guys once again for watching this video, and I look forward to seeing you next time.